Hello everybody, my name is Lemon, it's Lemon. I am your coach of the Houston Overdrive, and today we've got a brand new draft league with the Low Tier Pokemon League. As the name says, we will be only drafting lower tier Pokemon, so no tier 1s at all. So no things like Hydreigon, Cinderace, Rillaboom, Excadrill, and others, Kyurem and stuff. Most legendaries aren't allowed, but there are definitely some in here. Z crystals are allowed, and the way that works is we have 110 points to spend. And before I get into how you spend that, I'm going to show you our layout and tell you exactly how the draft works. So, in this draft, we are actually drafting 12 Pokemon instead of 11, which is pretty new to me. But we are drafting 12 Pokemon, and all of them are free agent. There are no tier requirements whatsoever. So, to draft these 12 Pokemon, we have 1,000 points that we do not need to spend all of them. And any that we leave will be left over for the rest of the season for us to use to make exchanges. Then the Z Crystal users, before I explain that, before I explain that, I should talk about how exactly the tiers work. There are 12 tiers that all have a cost. Tier 1 costs 120 points, and it goes down by 10 each tier. So the very bottom tier costs 10 points, and nobody, not even a single soul, bought anything from there. So the way we pick our Z users is we have 110 points to spend on a maximum of 3 Z users. And it's 110 so that none of the really high tier stuff, well, high tiers this league gets, has Z moves, but so that tier 3s can still have Z moves as well, and those points are used as the same cost as the Pokemon. So if I wanted to use a tier 4, it would cost 90 points, so then that would leave me with 20 Z crystal points. But I will be going into exactly how our Z crystal points are spent soon with our very first pick, Aeolus the Tornadus. So Aeolus got a fierce wins here. Very, very powerful with the Prankster and Defiant ability. Defiant boosting its attack by 2 if it gets any of its stats lowered by an opponent. So it does have it's got a pretty decent coverage with, I believe it has Poison. It's got Heat Wave and Hurricane, Knockoff, Superpower, other things, and for its Prankster ability, it does have U-Turn as well. For its Prankster ability, it does have Tailwind and Hurricane, or Rain Dance, and it has Taunt as well. Taunt is really good on this Pokemon, and as you see in the top right, it is a pure Flying type with our Z Crystal. Now the Z Crystal is not limited to the Flying type, but I just chose to have the Flying type Crystal just to show what it looks like. This Pokemon at tier 3 cost us 100 points, and was a very solid pick, and you're going to see exactly why it's so good with our very next pick, Typhoon the Politoed. So I wasn't planning on picking Politoed this early in the draft, but somebody else earlier in the draft picked Kingdra, and I should have also said I had the very last pick of the draft, so it was a little bit difficult, but I think I got most of what I wanted pretty well, or I still got those rolls. Typhoon here to set the rain for my team, to make Tornadus's Hurricanes have no accuracy check and stab, which is really, really good. Pretty bulky on the special side. It does have knockoff as well. It does have pretty decent coverage with just some basic things like Scald, Hypnosis, Psychic, and Ice Beam, and Earthquake as well. That's kind of what it does. I haven't looked a whole lot into its tech, but seeing as Politoed is the only immediate rain setter in the draft, seeing as there are only 2 Pokemon with the Drizzle ability, being Politoed and Pelipper, and Pelipper isn't allowed because it's very up there. Politoed was a very good pick. Now, his main role is going to be to go to switch in for Drizzle, but I'm excited to just reveal later on what else he can do. This pick cost us 90 points, putting us at 810. Pretty decent considering that most of the other people in this draft immediately picked Pokemon that cost 120. And we are going to do exactly that with our very next pick, Raiden the Silvally. So Raiden here can be any type I want with the RKS ability, with the RKS system ability, my bad. He costs 120 points, putting us at 690. I am actually pretty surprised that I got Silvally in round 3. I kind of thought it was going to go way quicker than this, and it surprisingly didn't. And I really like the versatility that Silvally has. It gives me a really good normal. It gives me great coverage. It's got Thunder Wave and Defog and U-turn and Parting Shot. I really like that dual pivot. Yeah, U-turn and Parting Shot. Oh, I completely forgot to mention with Tornadus, he has Weather Ball. So not only do I get no accuracy check Hurricanes, I also get 100 base power water moves on Tornadus, which is so good. And hidden power is allowed, so hidden power ground, guys, for those electric types and for the rock types. It's looking pretty good for Tornadus here. Then Silvally here, again, can be any ability, can be any type I want. Having that multi-attack being stab for any type I want it to be. It's a mixed attacker having base 95 stats all across the board, which is really good. It's basically a mythical. It's basically a base 100 mythical, like Mew and Celebi and Jirachi. So Silvally, very powerful, very good Pokemon. Cost us 120 points, putting it at 690, which is pretty solid, especially for round 3. But we are going to move on to Helios the Heliolisk, which costs us an extra 100 points, putting us at 590. So while I did pick a normal type, with the last pick, I actually wanted to pick one that was consistently a normal type with Heliolisk here. If you didn't know, Heliolisk is a great way to use Rain because of its dry skin ability. It gets healing and a water immunity in Rain. Well, actually, it gets the water immunity either way. It basically gives it water absorb and leftovers if in the rain, but it also takes more damage from fire type attacks and takes damage from sun. But obviously, seeing as we have a rain team, sun isn't going to be too like, people are definitely going to bring it. I'm very sure people are going to try and bring it against us. But most of the Prankster Pokemon were actually picked between me and one other coach. So I'm not too worried about Prankster Sunny Day, those kind of things. And there's only like one Sun team in the game, I think. But yeah, Heliolisk here, great abuser of both weathers, having that solar power ability and Tri-Skin. Yeah, it's a good Pokemon. It's got Weather Ball for Sun. It's got Surf and Volt Switch and U-Turn, again, dual pivot ability. It's got Dragon Pulse and really good coverage. Pretty good speed at 109, I believe, and like 110 special attack or something, I don't remember. But yeah, very good normal electric type. I think that Parabolic Charge is a little bit underrated. It is only a 65 power, whereas things like Giga Drain are 75, but that's still a draining move. So I think I might eventually use Parabolic Charge. I'm not sure, but I think it'd be pretty worth giving us a little bit of, healing on top of Dry Skin, which could be really nice. Next up, though, at our 5th pick of the draft, we have Zoro the Mega Sceptile. So I actually originally planned on Mega Manectric, but it was taken a little bit before it got back to me. But Mega Sceptile was a great second candidate with the Lightning Rod ability, and seeing as I wasn't really planning on drafting a specific ground type other than Seismitoad, which was taken earlier in the draft, Mega Sceptile here is just great. It really discourages people from using electric moves, because then Mega Sceptile gets a +1 bonus to its special attack, and that means more healing with its Giga Drain. and with a very powerful base 145 special attack and speed, this thing is really powerful. It also very much so forces people to run Scarfers, which my team can also handle really well. And you're going to see exactly why I can handle those really well later on. Obviously, as I said, hidden power is allowed, so this Pokemon is a little bit better. It cost us 90 points, so we are back to 500. Half our points are gone, and not even half of the draft is complete. But that being said, this Pokemon is still very powerful, very scary. It really, really is. While most of its coverage does lie in that physical attack, while its special attack is higher, it does still have base 110 physical attack and 145 speed, and sword stance, and agility. So those Scarfers can not outpace agility Sceptile, which is really, really good. It is an electric immunity Pokemon, which is really, really good. Like I said, it does have things like Leaf Seed and a couple of other status moves. I haven't looked a whole lot on its status move. I've just been looking at its offensive moves, and I don't want to display all of them because I kind of want Mega Sceptile to be, a little bit mysterious about what it all can do. I don't want to reveal any of my strategies on accident. But we are going to move on to our 6th pick of the draft with Brainstorm the Uxie. I have been wanting to draft Uxie for a while now, and I felt like this was a pretty solid chance. Very, very bulky Psychic type, base 145 defense and special defense, I believe. It's a Knockoffer, it's a U-turner, it's a Taunt, Thunder Wave, Trick Room. It's got Stealth Rocks and really good coverage, actually. Really, really good coverage. Very, very bulky Pokemon, too. It's got Levitate for my Heliolisk to have a little bit of a better time. Because, Heliolisk and Uxie have really, really good synergy together. Because Heliolisk is only weak to ground and fighting, and Uxie resists fighting and is immune to ground, unless it's a Mold Breaker Pokemon. But very good Pokemon. It is our first hazard setter, which is really important for a team like this, especially with things like Mega Sceptile forcing switches. Hazards are really important. Yeah, it's a really, really bulky Psychic type, and I think it's going to do us some pretty good work. Next up, though, we have got Kraken. We are entering the second half of the draft now, with Kraken the Tentacruel costing us another 100 points, as well as Uxie did. Water and Poison type. I actually have one main big reason for drafting this Pokemon. Corrosive Gas. Great, great move. Really gave Poison types a little bit more justice, which if you didn't know, Poison is my favorite type in the game. There's just a lot of Poison types that I seem to really, really love. And it gives us our first Rapid Spinner, while our team did have plenty of, a decent amount of hazard removal already with Silvally and Tornadus. I figured a Rapid Spinner would be really good too. Kraken here for the Rapid Spin, like I said. Liquid Ooze is an incredible ability, making it so that instead of healing from draining moves, Pokemon take damage. I think it's a great ability, and I really like it. I've been wanting to draft Tentacruel for that exact reason for a long time. It does have knockoff as well. It has good coverage, like actually, genuinely good coverage. It's got Toxic Spike, so it's another hazard setter for us. And its final ability, Rain Dish, is really good for a rain team, especially since Tentacruel is pretty bulky. Having an eighth of a recovery, having 1/8 HP recovered from Rain Dish and Black Sludge instead of just 1/16 is really good. Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm ever going to use it over Liquid Ooze or Clear Body, but it's really good. It is so valuable to be able to have that. It makes it pretty good for, a little bit of rain stall. But yeah, I really like this Pokemon. I'm really excited to use it, especially in a rain team like this. We're going to move on to our, what is this, our 8th pick? Yeah, this is our 8th pick. Wow, we're just speeding through this, aren't we? With 300 points left, we are going to pick up Excalibur the Escavalier. It was an obvious play. I'm very surprised Escavalier lasted this long, considering there is another rain team in our midst. Bug and Steel type, very powerful physical attacker, 105 defense and special defense, which is really solid. The obvious thing here is that it only has one weakness, which is fire, which it means it. Let me piece my words together here for a second. But because of rain, it takes less damage from fire, and obviously I have Politoed, possibly Savali, and Tentacruel all to switch into fire if the rain is not up. It's a very powerful Pokemon with Close Combat, Knockoff, Iron Head, Mega Horn, a couple of other really solid moves. It makes it a really good bander, choice band Pokemon, especially in the rain. This Pokemon cost us 70 points, I believe. I don't think I did that math right, but I think it cost us 70 points, putting us at 240. Yeah, I really, really like Escavalier, especially in this team. It's a good pickup. I think it is. Oh, and Drill Run. It does have Drill Run. So, yeah, I think it's a good Pokemon. It's got really good coverage, very powerful with base 120 attack, 125 or something like that. I don't know. Again, I kind of focus more on the typing and the ability matchups here, synergy, than the moves they had. Well, on some of them, I focus more on the moves. Things like Tornadus and Heliolisk, I focused a lot on the moves. But again, I don't want to reveal any of my kind of strategies here. So we are going to move on to Predator the Kabutops. This thing cost us 60, I think, and it put us at 170 points left. With the Rock and Water typing, this is our Swift Swim Pokemon and our second Rapid Spinner. So, at this point, I kind of needed a Swift Swim Pokemon because most of them were getting picked up. So, Kabutops or Predator here is my choice. I actually really like this Pokemon. It does have, I believe it has Superpower. It's got Liquidation and Waterfall, and I believe it gets Knockoff. It's got Swords Dance. Weak Armor is a good ability too if I don't want to rely on the rain. It's a good Pokemon, giving us a 4 times fire resist for a Escavalier if rain isn't up, which is pretty good. Weak Armor allowing us to have a +2 speed boost if hit by a physical attack means that I don't have to just use Swift Swim for that speed boost if I am a little bit worried about losing my rain. And Battle Armor is really good, especially in this format where Unpheasant is loud. Then Kabutops can handle it really, really well. Kabutops is a good way to deal with it, as well as Scavalier. Scavalier does also have Battle Armor, I believe. And yeah, I think these are really good Pokemon for us to be picking up, and I think they fit in the team really well. Kabutops does have some pretty good offensive. It's got some pretty good offensive potential here with that Swift Swim ability in rain. Obviously, we do have 2 solid rain setters with Tornadus and Politoed, but we are going to move on now to our next pick, Luma the Clefairy. So, I was going to pick Florges early in the draft, but before it got to me for the second pick, it got taken. So, later on, I picked up one of the 2 remaining Fairy Wish Healers, Aromatisse or Clefairy. And I went with Clefairy because at this point in the draft, my hazard setters are really not there. There's Uxie, Tentacruel, and since I had the last pick of the draft, I had Kabutops and Clefairy picked at the same time, basically. And Kabutops. That was all I had at the time, but Clefairy gives me a pretty bulky Wish Healer with Baton Pass, Heal Bell, Wish, and Knockoff and Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock was the main reason I picked it over Aromatisse, and because I just really don't like Aromatisse. But Clefairy is pretty cute, and I actually have a name for it, and it's Luma. And I have been wanting to use Clefairy for a while. I actually really have. It's been the fairy type I've wanted to use for a pretty long time now. I used it in Little Cup like a couple months ago, and it did pretty good there. Don't get me wrong, it definitely did good there. But again, that was Little Cup. It wasn't low tier, or it wasn't regular draft, because in regular draft there's better things. There's Florges, there's Sylveon, there's other fairies. I don't remember. I don't really like most fairies. Florges is like the one that I really, really like. But yeah, we've got Clefairy now. Good Wish Healer, gives us Knockoff. It does have teleport now as well, which is really good. Baton passing any stats isn't allowed, but baton passing a substitute is. So that could be kind of valuable. Sub pass, wish, protect kind of thing, I guess, could be valuable for this thing. I'm not entirely sure. Again, this is the first time I've used Clefairy in a regular draft, not in Little Cup, so it's going to be a little bit new to me, but only costing us 20 points for this thing, I think it was a good pick. We're going to move on now to our second last pick of the draft with Sinistar the Cryogonal. I had this thing planned from the start. I wanted Cryogonal for Rapid Spin, Freeze Dry, Levitate, and for an Ice Resist, because if people see multiple water types, a flying type, and a Mega Sceptile, they're going to want to bring Freeze Dry. So Sinistar is here to resist Freeze Dry with really, really good special defense stat, pretty good speed stat as well. Gives us dual hazard removal with Rapid Spin and Defog. It's a pretty good offensive Pokemon. It allows me to use Aurora Veil as well. If I want to abuse my opponent's, Aroma Veil setter, like Vanillux or Alolan Ninetales, I can abuse that for myself, which gives Mega Sceptile a great opportunity to start setting up. Just gonna put that out there. Or Tornadus even. Tornadus, it gives him a great chance to go for like a Z Hurricane or something. Yeah, that's kind of just Cryogonal's role. Second last pick cost us 60 points, leaving us with 90 points. And we are going to move on now to our very, very last pick of the draft, rounding it all off with Sinus the Sableye. Ha! Ha! One of the very last prankster Pokemon left. I believe the only one left is Grimmsnarl. And Morgrim, I guess. But Sinus, the Sableye, this is my favorite ghost type in the game. I love Sableye so much with the Dark and Ghost typing. Obviously, I could have had Silvally be Dark or Ghost, but whenever it comes to having Silvally, I prefer having a constant Pokemon of that type, like I said earlier with picking Silvally and then Heliolisk back to back. I prefer having, like, Silvally, while it does fit many, many, many roles, if I am taking it as my only usage of a Dark type or a Ghost type, then I don't have any other options. But Sableye here is really solid for us. It gives us a prankster Pokemon with Rain Dance, Will-O-Wisp. I believe it gets Thunder Wave. It gets Trick. It gets a lot. It gets a lot of really good moves. Shadow Sneak is obviously there. Knockoff is there. It's got good moves, good usability with my very interesting Rain team over here. And I'm really, really glad that I got this Pokemon. I was originally planning on Gourgeist, but having another prankster Pokemon to set up Rain for me instead of relying on my offensive Pokemon or Politoed to do it felt right. It felt like it was a really good pick and it was going to be really, really good. And here's our whole team, guys. I think it's a good team. I am very excited to go on into this league with it. In the first week, we are up against Lord Nobody and his other Rain team with things like Prankster Klefki and Seismitoad and Kingdra. So, yes, we are going against another Rain team week 1, which is going to be very, very interesting. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do consider liking and subscribing. It really shows me that you appreciate these videos that I am making, as I do enjoy making them myself. And I'm going to see you all in week 1. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to see you all later.